Welcome to the DSL Systems tutorial on fault finding plant items. The first part covered items with a motor. This part covers other items such as slides, gates, doors, divertors, rotary spouts and sensors such as level probes, flow probes and so on. On the right hand side you can see a simplified plant mimic showing some typical items. What I'll do is I'll run a route into bin 5 and you'll see here this slide opens first, then this conveyor starts, this conveyor and this elevator. So material is coming in here, up the elevator, across these conveyors, down here, through the open slide and into the bin. When you have a problem with an item such as a slide, door or diverter, the colour graphics will normally show the item position and flash with red to show that it's in alarm. The colours, unless you're colourblind, colours are green, the slide is opened, orange, the slide is closed, grey, neither open nor closed input signals are present and it's the same as being in transit, and yellow if both the opened and closed signals are present. And this is obviously a fault. What I'll do now is to fail the slide into bin 5 by removing the open limit switch. This would be the same as a wire falling off the open limit switch or the slide stuck in the middle. Now you'll see the alarm come up, slide failed to open. The colour graphics flashes between grey, neither open nor closed limit switch is present, and red to indicate that it's failed. Upstream items have been stopped to stop the flow of material. So firstly look at the alarms box on the graphics, and there are three possible alarms for this type of item. Fail to open or for a diverter won't go left, fail to close or for a diverter won't go right, and fault if off signal is missing. There are up to 4 possible input signals into the PLC. In automatic, is open or for a diverter in left position, is closed or for a diverter in the right position, and this fault if off signal, sometimes used for an access door fault or similar. So the usual sequence is, look at the graphics and decide what to do. Go to the actual item, and this would be the normal action for this type of items. Go to the electrical panel, a bit unlikely for these, or retrying the item, and I'll show you this. So you would go to the item, close it, and you'll see now that first of all it's got some hashing over to say it's in override, and it's in orange to say that it's fully closed. If I then do a release override, the hashing goes and the item goes back to where the automatic system wants it. And of course it won't open, and then after a short while it goes back into alarm, the alarm comes up and the item flashes. Now what I'll do is I'll pretend that I go to the item and I repair the slide. So now the slide is flashing between green, which means it's fully opened, and red, which means it's still an alarm. But the item still needs to be accepted. So if I go to the alarm and press alarm accept, the slide is in the open position, everything's okay, and so the route will restart. If the item is flashing yellow and red, it'll mean that both the opened and closed limit switches are on. A slide can have a fault if off signal, and this could be an access panel or other fault input. On the graphics, I've shown this here as a little triangle next to the slide. If I remove the signal, you'll see that this little triangle has turned red and the item has gone into alarm, but it flashes between red and green, so green means it's still fully open and red means it's in alarm. If I put the signal back again, you'll see that the little triangle has gone back to grey, its normal position, but the item is still in alarm and needs an accept. If a slide isn't being used, it's said to be idle, and so it won't alarm until it's needed again. If you look at this diverter here, DV2, you'll see that it's ported to the left-hand side, which is into the bin. If I remove the signal, you'll see that now the diverter is neither left nor right, but because there's no material going into this diverter, it won't alarm, and there are no alarms in the alarms box. If you've got access to item configuration, you can see the configuration by going to Menu, Configure, Items, and then enter the material or the item code. So on the Input tab here, you'll see there are up to 4 inputs, 4 possible signals. Any value between 1 and 10,000 is a real electrical signal into a PLC, and any value over 10,000 is an internal flag. 10,001 is a special case and is always on or true, and if we had one, 10,002 is also a special case and is always off or false. Hovering over a value shows you the description of the input. You can have similar items. Here is a 3-way diverter. It's actually made up of 2 internal flaps, and depending on the position of the 2 flaps, depending on where the material goes, it comes down the center and either goes to the left, to the center, or to the right. Here is a rotary spout. So a rotary spout can have up to 30 positions on it. This particular one only has 6 because you can see only 6 positions have been configured. Here is a level probe. It only has 1 signal here, but also there is something else here. If I go to Outputs and Flags, there's something called a Sense flag. If I click on this and press the Help button, F1, you'll see that the item can be considered to be covered if the input signal is either on or off, depending on this sense signal. Monitoring signals. Providing you've got access permission, you can look at Menu, Maintenance, Monitor, Inputs and Outputs. And this shows all inputs and outputs in 4 separate sections. The first section are real inputs, starting at 1. So these are inputs into the PLC. These ones here are outputs from the PLC, starting at 1. You can see it's out there. This section here are input flags, so they start at 10,000. And this section here at the bottom are output flags, and they also start at 10,000. So a 1 means its signal is on, and a dot means the signal is off. And if there's a red box, it means that the signal has been inverted. If you want to look at a particular electrical signal, for example 244, so you'd look at 241, there's 241, 242, 243 and 244. So you'll see that 244 is on. When the program starts, inputs are displayed starting at 1, And you can make it easier if you want to by starting wherever you want. So you select Start, Digital Input, and if you put in 244, you'll see now the input start at 244, so the signal that we were looking at a moment ago is 1. Thank you for watching this DSL tutorial. I do hope you'll find it useful.